And we're going to kick off with Debbie, who will be telling us about global governance. And what I'd like to say to the audience is, if there's anybody out there that thinks that UK is still run by an elected government, they're sadly mistaken, because the government is simply the puppet of the world agenda. And it's those global policies which are doing the damage today. In my opinion, we're being attacked by our own government. Debbie, welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Yes, and it would seem that our global governance are putting their foot down, probably because they don't trust us and probably because they know that they're in trouble. So let's look back to last year when Antonio Guterres, he actually announced that they were going to accelerate the Sustainable Development Goals through the 2024 Summit of the Future. So what's this, you ask yourself? Well, this is a pact for the future that's being designed, a booster shot for the SDGs, if you like. So this is where everything's going to accelerate. And I just want to remind people of the United Nations Common, here we go again with the name Common Agenda, where it said that we are at an inflection point where we face a stark and urgent choice. And basically it's humanity breakthrough or humanity breakdown. And if we see an overview of the Common Agenda, now I'm sorry, there's a lot of information on that screen, so I would urge everyone to go and have a look at the document. So I've just highlighted a few of them on the next slide that may be of interest to you. So let's have a look at that. And you can see the first one says, be prepared. And there's your emergency platform, which pretty much covers all bases. So for any emergency, they can just order countries to act in lockstep. And in orange there, the global vaccination plan as well. I mean, that's pretty much says it all for me. And the universal health coverage, of course, is the One World Health. And then they're going to upgrade the United Nations, and they're going to, of course, try to build trust. But just notice down there too, it also says international tax system. So what that's going to be about, I'm not quite sure, but let's have a look at the Summit of the Future. And this is going to be a big event. It's going to take place but on the 22nd and the 23rd of September 2024, multilateral solutions for a better tomorrow. But what actually is it all about? Why does this summit matter so much? And it really is important that, and I think we'll be coming back to this many times. So it's going to be an event that's going to bring world leaders together. It's basically, they're saying that they're not on track. They're not meeting their goals that they've already set for themselves. So you can see there that they're already starting to doubt their own plan. But as we're speaking, not only is this Summit of Future being planned, but as we're speaking, there's the World Government Summit 2024. Now, you can jump on YouTube anytime today and look at it live. It's taking place from the 12th to the 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody, by the way, the 14th of February in Dubai, in the Arab Emirates. And who's speaking? So the person that's actually launching it is H.E. Omar Al-Olama. He's the Minister of State for Artificial Intelligence. Now, that gives you a flavour of what this World Government Summit is all about: digital economy, remote work application. But who are some of the speakers? And it doesn't take long before you can see that Tedros has appeared from the WHO, because of course they want to upgrade the WHO. Sam Altman there, H.E. Ahmed Abdul Gate, Secretary General of the League of Arab States. So let's look at some of the agenda that they've got going on as we're speaking, some of the topics they're talking about, and some of them may be interested to Sandy Adams, who I know that we're going to speak to in a minute. So urban planning in future cities, and in a nutshell, how to prepare governments for an AI tsunami. Let's look at a little bit more. There's a few more topics just to give you a flavour. So what makes a city timeless, and connecting the brain to artificial intelligence. There's literally loads of topics, and all of these are starting to appear now on YouTube. However, I suddenly found in the agenda Lord Blair. And Lord Blair has been very busy talking about transforming our nations and is tech our solution. He's been talking to Edi Rama, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Albania. Let's listen to what he had to say.
And how do you find your own system with this? Because part of anyone who's ever been in government knows that the problem is that government systems, can be somewhat resistant to change, let's say. And you've got the potential, for example, in healthcare, you can have something similar to an AI doctor sitting alongside the real doctor. In education, it's possible now. There are fantastic innovations happening where you can effectively personalize education for young people. Because you'll want to introduce all of these changes into Albania. How difficult is it to get your system to move?
I believe it's more difficult in Germany and Britain because these countries, the big countries, developed countries, have also very developed machines of bureaucracy that are made in other times and that are like very big ships you have to start and turn. Ours is just a little boat, and jumping from that boat and taking the new technology as a possibility is just a bless. So practically we don't have this. So of course we have resistance, but it's more the resistance of laziness sometimes in the bureaucracy. But otherwise we can do all these things because we don't have to remove mountains that are well settled there, but we have simply to run and to run and to run forward. So I don't see this as one of the main challenges.
So there you have it. Tony Blair, Lord Blair, was speaking yesterday. So that's just hot off the press. And if you want to go and have a look at the whole interview, then please do. But clearly you can see that there's a bit of resistance in the West. So it's not quite so easy to roll out. So what are the future? 6 goals the World Government Summit has. And we'll just look at 3 of the first 3. Government acceleration. There you go, the term acceleration again. And transformation, artificial intelligence and the next frontiers, reimagining development and future economies. And then the final 3 are future societies and education, sustainability and the new global shifts, urbanization and global health priorities. And just something finally to tie this segment up. One of the topics that was being talked about that I hadn't heard about, and I'm sure Sandy will probably have something to say about this as well, is that the WEF are very keen on Isobenefit. So Isobenefit Urbanism, the thinking behind the cities of the future. So what is Isobenefit? Well, to be honest, it's trees and walking, but maybe we can talk about that a little bit more in extra.
Debbie, thank you very much for taking us through that. An excellent summary, but I think it absolutely reinforces that we have this team of globalists who are deciding what the national policy will be, what the policy will be in national sovereign states. And it's very clear that it is not the democratically elected government that's working in UK, but it's these other people, and we still have Tony Blair. I just want to add a little bit of good news to what you've just taken us through, because you did say that they're talking about them. They're worried that they're not on track for the goals that they've set themselves. And I just wanted to come back to the Global Risks Report 2024. Now, I think Ben mentioned this a few editions of the news a little while ago. We'll say that. So here's the document, World Economic Forum, the Global Risks Report 2024, 19th edition. And some of the headings there. At a turning point, over the limit, etc. But this is the bit that caught my eye as I went through this document. It was a paragraph headed Defining the Truth. And basically, it said that false information could not only be used as a source of societal disruption, but also of control, by domestic actors in pursuit of political agendas. So the basis there for the reader is you're taking in that the bad people can be pushing out false information. And then it says, although misinformation and disinformation have long histories, the erosion of political checks and balances and growth in tools that spread and control information could amplify the efficacy of domestic disinformation. Global internet freedom is already in decline, falls in press freedoms. So they start this paragraph as though there's been some amazing accident whereby the freedom of society, the freedom of the press is ebbing away. They're not too sure what it is. But if we come on to the next paragraph, in that particular block, it went on to say that indeed the proliferation of misinformation and disinformation may be leveraged to strengthen digital authoritarianism and the use of technology to control citizens. And then this key point, governments themselves will be increasingly in a position to determine what is true, potentially allowing political parties to monopolize the public discourse and suppress dissenting voices, including journalists and opponents. And what I want to stress here is, of course, this is exactly what they've been doing. And so on one hand, they talk from a detached position as if they've no idea what is actually controlling the change in freedoms. And in the next statement, they're actually saying that governments themselves are in a position to actually determine what is true and control the narrative.